Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Sarah Louise, a UK-based country singer from Ipswich. How you doing?
Hi Dan, thanks for chatting to me today.
No worries, an absolute pleasure, anytime at all. So for people that are listening that have never heard of you before, how would you describe yourself and your involvement in the music industry?
I would say I was quite an honest, open artist that wears my heart on my sleeve, really. And I just love drawing in a positive crowd, so people that like to have fun and enjoy themselves. And I like to give a good performance, um, and also quite a heartfelt one too. So just I wanted to just basically connect with everybody, you know.
Makes perfect sense. And like, when did it all start for you? Like when did you first get into music, firstly? And I guess from that point, when did you start writing songs?
Honestly, when I was about four. I used to like record myself on tape, on a little Sony, used to press play and record, and it used to be really quite annoying for everyone in my household because I was writing songs all the time. But then kind of something happened in my adult life. Then I realized I didn't have to make up stories anymore. I could actually write real ones. When you've got enough life experience, you kind of want to get it down. And so music's been my therapy since I've been a late teen, really.
Interesting. So how did you know that music was kind of like had that connection to you, if that makes sense? So I don't know, did you start learning how to sing? Did you take like formal tuition and stuff like that or
Well, I had lessons at college. I was always doing theatre studies, performing arts, and I actually wanted to be in Les Miserables. But then I realised being on stage every single night singing the same songs would be fantastic, like audience wise, but I think I would get a little bit bored because I would want to be able to write and be creative. And that's what I've always loved about music, just finding a place where you can be expressive. And I've always loved art and I've always loved making things. So, I love creating music. And I think that when I was singing in karaoke's and won karaoke competitions, I thought actually people might like my voice because this is going well. And I had a job in a bar when I was old enough. And sometimes the entertainment didn't turn up, and sometimes I would take the mic and literally go and sing on the bar, and it was a bit coyote ugly actually. And I just loved it. I loved the attention. I loved being the center of the audience and having them in the palm of my hand. And I just felt like, yeah, this is it, that I need to do this. This is what I was meant to do. I'm at my happiest on a stage.
right? So it's actually performing the music and connecting with the people that are there to see you that really kind of like, drew your spark and like took your passion with music to like the next level, I guess.
Seeing people's reactions of what I do makes me want to do it more. I know it should come from within and it shouldn't matter what other people think, but people really do encourage me to do it more. And when I know that I've got that, and people say to me, can you just not talk and just sing because they prefer it? So yeah, I just love it.
Okay, that makes sense. So how did you first learn to, I guess, like write songs, like, and how has that developed over time as you progressed as an artist?
I'd always be in my car. Like I'd always do my daughter's head in because I'd be in my car and something would come on, like, I don't know, like a Craig David song, and there's some beautiful instrumentals in the middle of a song, and I'd just make up a song over the top of an instrumental. And Francesca's like, Mom, what are you doing? You're ruining the song because she's embarrassed that I sing. But I don't know how, but I have the ability to write over any instrumental. I can do it. I hear songs everywhere, everything. Like if someone's tapping something, I could make a song out of it. And it doesn't have to be an instrument. It could be an escalator making a noise or, anything. I just love creating something from scratch. So I suppose from a very early age, I've learned that.
And it's interesting that you didn't necessarily have like formal training in terms of how to do that. It's just something that you kind of felt and did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think I get a little bit from because both of my granddads were very musical. Um, my granddad played the drums right up to the age of 80, bless him. But my other granddad basically made me my first mixtape, and he got me into all sorts of musicians. Like he got me into Stevie Wonder. I love Stevie Wonder, and like Motown, Cyndi Lauper. He got me into all sorts of music that I felt that I had already, and I had that sort of knowledge of all these beautiful, amazing musicians, and I just took it with me, I think. And I think I was inspired, especially by Whitney Houston. You know, her voice was so incredible. I was just in awe of her. And I think I just wanted to progress with it, really.
That makes sense. And when did you first start like taking it from something that you did like as a pastime into more of like a career option, if that makes sense? So, like at what point, I guess, did you start recording songs, writing your own stuff, like releasing it, that kind of thing?
Um, that's a good question. So I created an album with my country songs on it, which I loved because I was auditioning for lots of stuff like The Voice and The X Factor and Pop Idol, and I managed to get on these shows, and I managed to even get on a show as Madonna. And I got down to the last three Madonnas on BBC, the one and only. And someone said to me on that show, she has an amazing voice, but she's not Madonna. And I was like, she's got a point. I'm Sarah Louise. I'm not Madonna. This is my chance. This is my chance to go and be Sarah Louise. She's just said I've got an amazing voice. I'm going to do this. So I kind of, it's like I was always gigging and always doing gigs and other people's music. But from that moment in 2007, I started writing my own music and actually releasing it. But I didn't actually get it out there to the public until 2000, actually. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, sorry, it cut off a bit then. What year did you say?
Oh, until 2019, I didn't get anything out there till.
Wow. Why was that? Why did that take so long, I guess? What was that process like? What were you thinking about, feeling like? What were you working on in terms of that timeline?
It was confidence. It was worrying about whether people would actually like my stuff, and this would be really raw. Um, and if they didn't like it, I would feel open. I don't know. It was just really strange. But do you know what? Now I've done it. There's no going back. I love it so much, and having two number ones and like three top five songs, I just can't believe it. I can't believe that my music has got there and done that. It just makes me feel really appreciated.
Let's dig in a little bit deeper to that like process, I guess. So you said you didn't have the confidence to put it out. Are we talking about like a whole album here, just to clarify?
No, I basically done three songs in 2007, and one of
Yeah.
them was called Seeing You, one of them was called Explanation, one of them was called Heard It All Before. And the songs that I'd wrote about were other people that I'd been in relationships with, and I was worried that they would know that. So I felt like if I have a long enough time, people would wonder who it would be about, and then I wouldn't have to explain myself. I just didn't want to air my dirty linen in public too soon because it was very raw. Like when I split up with my daughter's father, it was not a very nice time for me, and I needed some processing time. Um, it helped me write loads of songs, but I didn't really do anything with them, you know. And it's not till later on that I thought, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think. It really doesn't matter. Like that's what being an artist is all about. Being out there. That is what you do. And I found people respect me more from being honest. Like my first album that I brought out was all very oh this and oh you should do this people and why don't you try this people, whereas I wasn't being honest about how I was feeling about my life. um as soon as I started not worrying about what people think and just being completely honest and writing from the heart, everything just fell into place. It was so weird.
Very important point that you raised there. And I think like a lot of artists should kind of strive for that because especially when you're like a young artist, you don't have that confidence and you're still finding your feet. It's quite easy to emulate, the people that you love, the people that inspired you to do music, all that kind of thing. But actually, like people really connect with how honest and open you are when you really just tell your own story.
Yeah, I don't realize I'm doing it now. I pick up my guitar when I'm feeling sad or happy. And that's another vital point, actually, Dan. So in lockdown, no one could play for me because obviously there was no one about. Everyone was in their own bubbles. And I was like, how am I going to play this music? I've got all these song ideas and no one to play for me. I'm just going to have to play myself. And then my dad bought me a guitar for my birthday, and then I just started learning. And my friend Dave in Australia is a guitar teacher, and he was helping me, bless him, whilst he was going through his cancer treatment, bless his heart. But he actually helped me, started me off, and he was like, I can't do his Australian accent, but he basically told me off. He was like, get on with it. There's no excuses. I'm dying. Sort your life out. Go and be a singer-songwriter. That is what you were born to do. And I also lost my friend in 2021. She died of cancer. And she said to me, Sarah, because I write my own children's music as well. I do it all in Logic and things like that. And I used to like show the songs to her, and she used to say, this is incredible. Like, what you've created here is just absolutely unbelievable. Like, you were born to be a songwriter. If you don't do this, you're doing yourself and the world a disservice. If you don't go and do this, I'll be so disappointed in you. Like, so she basically, when she passed away, I have her in my heart always, because she told me to do it and made me do it,
That's really amazing, those two like stories that you've told there, because it gives you like what you do a lot of purpose, right? Like it gives you like a reason to keep pushing and like going for what you want to do. And ultimately, like music's such an organic thing that really, when you get out of the caring what people think, there's really like no rules or limitations to what you can and can't do.
No, there really isn't. And obviously, when people around you say stuff to you like that and then they're no longer here anymore, you think, what have I got to lose? They're no longer here anymore. Like, I've still got my life ahead of me and I need to do this. What else am I going to do? Like, what else is there that I can do that's going to fill my heart? Nothing. The passion will take me far. That's all I can say. And people say to me, like my dad says to me, are you ever going to make any money out of this business? You've spent a fortune on albums and this and that. And, I made a joke the other day because I've nearly got 100,000 streams on Spotify. I was like, oh, I've almost made £200. But it's not about that. It's about having 100,000 streams. There's a lot of people listening to my music, and that is more than I could ever ask for. So money, I mean, obviously I need to like survive, but I know the bigger picture, something good's going to come of it. I just know, because in my heart I feel it. And it doesn't matter how much debt I'm in. I know one day I'm going to look back and go, what was I worried about? Just stick with it, go with it. I can't take it with me anywhere. I might as well just carry on.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It'd be good to hear, like, since the releasing of stuff in 2019, maybe like a bit more in depth, like what that timeline looked like up until now, in terms of the releases that you've done, maybe some of the gigs that you've done, etc. Talk me through that.
So actually, I think it was late 2018, to be fair. My first single that I brought out was an original called All of Me. It wasn't All of Me at all. That's a John Legend. All I Need is the one I'm talking about. Okay, All I Need was the song that I brought out. And then I brought out my country album, because I first brought out my country album in 2017, and then I took it down because I was really worried about it. So I took it down. And then I put it back up again later on. So in between. So people had other stuff to listen to. And actually, my cover of Bless the Broken Road by the Rascal Flatts is doing so well in America. It's had nearly 1 million streams on Pandora. People love it. And that made me realise my niche was country. Going on The Voice, people's like, you're a country singer. I was like, am I? They were like, you definitely are. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was a certain type of singer. I just thought I was just a singer. But then I realised, hang on, I'm trying to sing like I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston on The Voice and The X Factor. And really, I should just be myself and write my own songs. As soon as I started doing that, I become recognised. I become, I don't know, fuller in my heart, because I thought, well, I'm not faking it anymore. I'm being actually myself and writing all the songs because I want to. So then I started doing gigs of my own music. I basically headlined my own show at the Camden Chapel, and then I was doing festivals, and I got nominated for Female Vocalist of the Year, Female Artist of the Year. My song got nominated for Album of the Year. the Shift album, and it literally was the shift in me. And that was in 2021. Then I brought out another album and I wrote most of the songs in Nashville, and that was called The Now. In lockdown, I was writing songs every single day on TikTok and literally getting everyone involved. And one song in particular, this side actually, Sunflower, I wrote a song about becoming something, and I was trying to like make reference to a flower because someone said to me in my life, you are a sunflower, Sarah, like you bring the light to people's lives and you shine anyway. And that EP was kind of the making of my songwriting journey in lockdown, and it kind of got me a lot of audience. And I've had over 2,000 videos made on social media of that song, even though as an artist I don't get anything from that. But what I do get is that people really appreciate my music and they're actually making videos out of my songs, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you for using my song. Thank you. But I haven't got time to thank all these people for using my sound. But it just fills me with so much love that people appreciate my songs, you know?
Makes sense. It'd be good to hear about like the recording process of those releases actually, like which other artists do you work with? How do you find the musicians that you're going to record with? I guess how do you select like the studios and the people to work with production wise?
So I have been working with someone that I've always used as a producer, Sonic Boom Music, and he has made a lot of difference to my recording because he's very honest, and he'll say to me, Sarah, what are you doing? You're overdoing it, you're overcooking it. Just be yourself. Like, your voice needs to just be at zen. So he'll say, you're trying too hard. But or when I'm in the studio, the red light goes on and I'm just boom, I've lost it. The only way that I was ever able to record is if I was to play guitar and send it to Ben Newton, who's an amazing guitarist and also a friend. And he always records my guitar for me exactly as I do it. Like literally, I'll send him a TikTok video and I'll go, look, Ben, can you play it like this? And he'll be like, sure. And then he'll send me like a backing track that he's created for me with all the licks and all the amazing bass that he puts on it. And I'm like, oh my God, you brought my song to life. And yeah, it's just amazing, and I just love it. And I like to work with stripped back vocals, so I don't really like a lot of drums in my songs because I like acoustic only. So when I do a big production song, like my song My Beating Heart, it literally was the most commercialized type of song that I've ever done, and I loved it so much. But I also like doing acoustic stuff, so that makes a difference when I do something like that. So it's a big contrast. But I do love violin. I do love cello. Oh, all the strings. Or I want all the strings all the time. But you've got to be different sometimes in the songs. And I've had a kora in my songs. And another friend of mine, producer friend of mine, Mike Trim, got a guy, Josh Turner, and he was one of 6 people in the UK to play the kora, and he played it for me on one of my songs, Life for a Living, which is on the Shift. And as he was playing it, I got an idea for another song as he was playing it. As he was playing the instrumental, I was like, I've got another idea for another song now. And they were like, all right, can you wait a minute till we've done this one? So I just get so inspired by instruments. I love them. My next mission is to sing with an orchestra. I'd love that.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy one when you've got a whole orchestra there. Like there's so many different dynamics, and especially if it's quite an emotional song, it takes it to like another level.
I just love gospel. I love choirs, and I try and create my own choirs in a couple of my songs. I've got a song called You've Got It All, and it's very gospely because it's almost like talking about God, but it's also talking about a person. It's like, you've got my heart, you've got my soul, you've got it all. It can mean anything. So it's reference to what you want it to be referenced to. But because of the sounds in it, the gospel sounds and the organ, I love it. And I want to create that one day on a stage with a big choir and an orchestra. That'd be a dream for me. I'd love that.
That could be a whole tour in itself.
Oh,
Take the orchestra on tour.
oh yeah, SL Orchestra. Woo! Love it.
But it's interesting what you were saying in terms of like bringing different instruments in and how that inspires you, because like
Mm,
it's different sounds that kind of make you think on a different wavelength, you know?
totally. Like, I think when we was in the studio, and my friend Jonathan Potts, he's such an amazing musician. Like he can literally play anything. We used to be in a duo together, and we called it Soul Candy because it was music for the soul. People thought it was because we sung soul music, but it wasn't. We literally stripped back every single possible popular song in the 80s and 90s and made it our own. And I loved working with him because our harmonies were spot on. And it's not until you step back and look and think how amazing of the things that you've done. And I sometimes message him, I'm like, John, can we go on tour again? He's like, no, Sarah, I'm done. That part of my life is done. Because obviously I was a bit full on. I was like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. But he's actually agreed to play on any album that I want. Like he's also said to me, like, if you ever want me to play violin for you, piano, just let me know and I'll play for you and I'll do some harmonies for you. So it's so nice. I've met so many amazing musicians that are willing to help me, and it's just so nice to connect with people like that, you know?
100% agree. And what about connecting with the audience? I think it'd be good to hear about like your experience with gigging as well, because you said earlier that's something that you really love.
Yeah, I've developed this thing now where I have a gig and I get people up to sing with me. I try not to let it take over my gig, but it's a thing now. And I kind of pick random people out. When I know that they know the song, I want them to come on stage with me and enjoy it, because having a song sung back to you is so special. I'm like, right, that's it. Come here. You can sing with me now. They're like, really? And I love seeing them shine. And even if they think they can't sing, to me, that's their chance to be expressive and shine. Like I would have loved it if someone would have said to me at a gig, come up on stage with me. All the things that I wanted at a gig is kind of what I'm trying to do at my gigs. And like every time I have a gig now, I literally hand out a sheet of a poster of mine and I put name of you. I want to know everyone's name that was at my gig. Put your name down, put your favorite song, and if I can sing it for you tonight, I will. So they're like, well, what have I got to sing it? I'm like, no, no, just put your name down and then put what song you love. And I try and get everything in. So every time I go to a gig, I've created a little habit now. And everyone's like, well, are you going to sing a song for me tonight? I'm like, yeah. So it's quite fun. And I think I need to carry that on because that's become really special, that.
Yeah, it's something that not many artists are doing, and obviously like there's like two sides to it because you could get some really obscure songs that people are like, try this.
They
Does that
do
happen?
sometimes do it on purpose. They want me to sing like AC/DC and like all this rock stuff. And I'm like, taking the mic now. All right, I'll give it a go.
But like you said, it's a good way of like connecting with your fans more when you're at a show, you know, and like getting to know them better. And like you said, you know, if you get them on the stage, they can experience like what you're experiencing like with you almost.
Yeah, as long as it's health and safety wise, like if I'm at the O2 or something, I don't think it's going to be as easy to do that. But if I'm like at the Camden Chapel, everything's on the same level. It's nice. It's really intimate, so people can just literally come up off their chairs and come with me if I ask them to. But sometimes I don't want to make other people feel like they haven't had a chance. So I don't want to like single people out and like have a favorite. I have a favorite one, or I don't know. I have to judge it right. And I've now got a private group and I've called it SL Dreamers, and people pay like a subscription where they get like exclusive stuff from me in a group. And the stuff that people like post in there is just so special. It's like a little community now. They're like my little family. It's so nice, but it's very time consuming because I feel like I want to tell them everything I'm doing. And sometimes I have to take time out and go, do you know what? I need to just have a day off because this is getting ridiculous. I like go cooking with them. I'm like choosing clothes with them. My cat knows them, but I love it. But I almost have to hang on, Sarah. This is getting a bit too much now. Calm it down. Like you can't be answering messages at 3 o'clock in the morning. You need to sleep. Just chill out, you know?
That's an interesting one. How do you kind of balance that, I guess? So if you've got all those fans messaging all the time, is it really hard for you to just not reply to them? Like, is that a challenge that you constantly face?
It's really hard. I've actually had to say to myself now, right, I know it's silly, but I almost have to say, let everybody know I'm not answering messages on a particular day. That's my day not to answer any messages, but I still look because I still feel like I need to let them know what I'm doing, or I don't know. It just, I feel like I'm being rude if I don't respond, but I feel like I need a little bit of help. So I've basically said to people, because I don't think people realize how many messages I get. I mean, I get probably about between 50 and 100 messages a day, Dan. So it is a bit much. So I say to people, right, guys, thank you for all of your messages. It's amazing. But please, could you put it in the group so that I can answer you all at the same time? And I've started doing like a monthly Q&A on a live to get all your questions out there, and all the things you want to talk about, just get it out there, because then I can kill two birds with one stone type thing. And I want to make everybody feel special, but like I've got so many platforms, I can't keep up.
Interesting. Yeah, it'd be good to hear, like, how do you manage the business side of things? Do you have like a manager? Do you have other people that work with you? What does that look like?
My diary is crazy. Like, I've now started doing color charts on all the things. So because I've got a business coach, and he said to me, Sarah, you need to map out all your time, and you need to work out how much time you're spending on earning productivity. And you know what? I actually looked at it and I said, wow, his name's Nick. And I said, Nick, I've actually only got 20% of my time is productive earning time. That is, and I only had 5% of that time with my family and friends. I said, something's got to change. This is not right. I'm not living at the moment. I'm like striving. And this has got to change. So ideally I would like a manager, but I don't know if I can trust a manager, because you just, in my experience, there's been a lot of contracts to read, and in them contracts, I'm not happy with any of it, because I'm very independent and I don't like people telling me what to wear, what to do, how to look. I can't deal with all that. I know that people sometimes have my best interests at heart, but I feel like I've got this far on my own now. For someone to come in and take it from me, it feels really quite nerve-wracking. So it's got to be the right person. Maybe like I'm really grateful for some people helping me with PR and advertising and things like that, and obviously people that I've got involved with, musicians. I absolutely love it, and if I ever want to rant to them, they've got my back and they give me advice. But I haven't got any label or any, I haven't got any like deals with anyone.
Makes sense. It's just working out like what things you can do yourself and what things you need help from other people from. Because obviously it's impossible to do everything, especially as you grow a fan base. You know what I mean? It becomes harder and harder to fit everything in, and like you say, have a good like balance between everything as well.
Mm.
So it'd be good to hear actually, drawing on all of your experience, what advice would you give to like a young musician that's just starting out on their journey? They want to sort of make it into a career. What would you say to them?
I would say be totally true to yourself and just read the small print. Don't just say yes. Make sure you look at every single offer that's on the table. Don't just say yes because you're excited. Make sure that you look into what it's going to do. How it's going to enhance your career. Because a lot of people that make an offer to you, there's always something in it for them, and sometimes there's more in it for them than there is for you. So just be mindful and be true to yourself, and always, always have someone that you can turn to, that you can trust, because you've got to offload to someone, and you've got to offload to someone that you can trust. So make sure whoever you offload to, you can trust.
We haven't had that one before, and that's really good advice, I think. Like you say, it's very difficult, especially when you get given all these opportunities left, right, and centre, vice versa, especially as you build, yourself. So yeah, that's really great to hear. We're nearly out of time now. There's only a couple of things left. So the first thing is, what is the plan for the future look like? What do you see like the next 5, 10 years looking like for yourself?
That's really interesting, because my new album, my new name idea for my new album is called 5 Year Plan, because I haven't heard of anyone create an album of that. Because basically all the songs that I create now for my next album in the summer is going to be stuff that's going to bring me forward. So all of the stuff that's going to, like, I want to do festivals, and I want to spend most of my time in Nashville because I absolutely love it there. I went there last year and it was the best experience of my life. I just felt so appreciated. It's unbelievable. So my plan is to spend the majority of my time in Nashville and create lots more music. My next album is going to be out in the summer, and I'm going to produce some of it here and produce some of it in Nashville.
Perfect. No, that's really, really exciting stuff. Amazing. So yeah, really enjoyed our conversation today. It's been great chatting.
Thanks, Dan.
But is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with as we close out?
Everything you're doing in life, don't look to backwards, don't look to the future, look to right now. Literally live life as if you're dancing in front of the mirror and don't worry about anyone else. Literally forward thinking and just enjoy every second because you don't know how long you got left.
Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Nice one. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.